I got a great episode for you guys today. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rogan, and this is This Baming Gal. On my platform, I do social commentary and reaction videos. I encourage my audience to have private conversations in public. Today, we're going to be talking about the pressure to stay young and beautiful forever. Have any of you watched the movie The Substance with Demi Moore? It's kind of like a weird flick. Well, it's a really weird flick, but it's very interesting. So it's a story about an aging star who's approaching 50, and she quickly learns that her time is up in Hollywood. Because you see, Hollywood is all about young bodies, new talent, fresh faces, and they're not shy about telling you that you're washed up.
People always ask for something new. It's inevitable. At 50, well, it stops.
So the main character, played by Moore, takes the substance to sort of get a career and a life do-over. And as a result, she gets a fitter body, she gets luscious hair, just her whole life, everything just changes. But of course, like all things that we shouldn't be doing, it comes with some serious, dire
consequences.
Well, I watched that movie for the first time a few nights ago, and when it was over, I was just sitting down thinking, and I was like, this would make a really good episode on my channel. And not the substance per se, but just the thought process that once we reach a certain age, it's like when we start to lose our beauty, we start to lose our youth, it's almost as if society views us as losing our usefulness. And believe it or not, it actually got me thinking about a lot of these celebrities and actually feeling sorry for them, because they're part of a machinery that hypes them up, pedestalizes them when they're young and they're vibrant and they're beautiful. And the minute they start to age, they quickly replace them with a newer, shinier, brand new model. And that whole environment in Hollywood just fosters a lot of competitiveness and animosity. You know, think about how many times, and let's just take it away from celebrities, just talk about like regular people like me and you, that you may have mentally competed with somebody in your head who might be younger than you or half your size, or if you're a man and you aren't as bulky, who's twice your size. And if we're not careful, many of us are going to fall for our version of the substance. You see, our version of the substance is Botox, could be lip filler, facelifts, could be dental surgery, veneers, those caps. It could be liposuction, or it could be your personal favorite, those BBLs. And we do all this to look young and beautiful because society has a problem with people aging. Let's talk about how ageism affects us. One of the lines I always hear, whether it's in media, social media, wherever, even like in group circles, people will say, "Oh, you never age." How many times have you heard that said to coworkers, friends who you haven't seen in years, or you've heard it about celebrities as well? How many times have you seen online articles or magazines that will put like a side by side of Pharrell Williams or Beyonce Knowles or Halle Berry, and they'll say, oh, this is like a 20-year gap or a 15-year gap or a 25-year gap. So they'll show Beyonce in 2020 and then 2025 and be like, this is 25 years apart and she looks the same. Well, she's not going to look that drastically different because she's still in her youthful era. You know what I'm saying? It's not that big. Unless you're not taking care of yourself, you're going to still look pretty damn good. But when she hits 65, she's not going to look how she looks at 25 or 30. It's going to be a marked difference.
I have longed for someone to say something to me other than, oh gosh, you're so pretty. I have longed to hear other words. I know I'm more than this. So as I've aged, I've been determined to age gracefully and naturally. I think it's a shame that as women, we're being told that we have to find a way to stay eternally young, forever 30, as though we're not allowed to be human and do what we're naturally born to do. We're born to age and die. But somehow as women, we have to do the unthinkable. We have to figure out a way to do it. And unfortunately, we're turning ourselves into monsters trying to do that. So I'm committed to being a spokesperson for allowing yourself to age gracefully, knowing that you're more than this shell you're walking around in.
We put a lot of pressure on celebrities to look good, and the minute they don't look good, we say they fell off. We want our celebrities to look fit even if they just had a baby like 2 months ago. We want them to always be sexy. We want them to always have abs, especially if you're a guy. We don't want to see gray hair and more so on women. On men, it's like perfectly acceptable for some guy to have like salt and pepper hair or to have fully gray hair. But for the women, it's like a big no-no, and they're encouraged to constantly dye their hair. Basically what we're saying is we don't want you to age. We don't want you to change. We want you to stay the way you are. And people look at like gray hair, for example, as someone being old, when the reality is there are a lot of people who went gray when they were in their 20s, when they were in their 30s, some were even teenagers. I went to school with a guy who was 17 years old, with the majority of his hair was gray. And celebrities have this great deal of pressure, and it's like, I cannot show any flaws. Jennifer Lopez revealed several years ago that she had started going gray at 23. I was shocked as hell because I've never known her to have gray hair. So you can imagine that you went gray from 23 and she's in her 50s now. So that's like decades of just dyeing your hair because the pressure is there to consistently look good.
I hate the word anti-aging. There's a genocide of natural beauty out there. And I don't need to point fingers, but there are charlatans and fakiers and people who are selling BS to unsuspecting women who are old enough to know better and teens who aren't. Because we have lost touch as a society about what is beauty. Beauty has become something that can be doctored and filtered and injected and peeled and stripped away. And the truth is you can't. And I'm going to tell you a story. I was at the Golden Globes and I was all done up and I was like walking around, kind of wonder who was there. And it was all of that insecurity. It was horrible. And I remember Chris said, wow, you know who the most beautiful woman in the room is? And he pointed, and it was Jessica Tandy, who at the time was 80. She was just sitting at the table like this. And he was right.
Just recently I was reading a People article which featured Nia Long, who herself has been considered and been called a timeless, ageless beauty. And she is gorgeous and she looks really good. But she said there's a lot of pros and cons to that. Like she said, she's flattered that they would say that. But again, it's the pressure to maintain. It's the pressure to always look this way. And she says the reality is she's going to grow old. I want to read something that she said here. But I have to tell you, there's so much pressure in this industry to stay beautiful and to stay young. And I'm really not interested in leaning into this idea of perfection. I am a proud 51, and eventually I'm going to age in a way where it's obvious. And I want it to happen beautifully and gracefully. I don't really want the pressure of feeling like I have to be beautiful and perfect because I think beauty comes at any age. Absolutely. And I thought that was a really brilliant answer from her. Because like I said, you know, a lot of celebrities and the line that I really picked up on is when she said, and all of it was just masterful, but she said, I'm a proud 51 and eventually I'm going to age in a way where it's obvious. And this just goes back to what I was saying. Father Time be turning your hair white and not just on your head. Sometimes in your nether region, you're not going to see that. Unless you're dating them, you're not going to see that. We all age. We all get gray hair. We all get wrinkles, boobs and butt sag. Men's member of parliament don't work like it used to. All that stuff happens. Men go bald. Men get gray hair. They lose muscle mass. And so they could have, I mean, look at someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was like really, really super buff. He can't maintain that. He's older now. And that's why a lot of these dudes out here too, they succumb to this pressure to like use steroids just to keep maintaining their bodies. Or they use that, what's that spray on Topics, whatever it's called, to create a hairline or to dye their hair because they want this appearance of looking younger. And the crazy thing is, they're missing out on this chapter of their life because they're desperately seeking that old life, seeking to look like they were in their 20s rather than embracing their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, you know? And personally, I don't think a lot of them, when they're doing that, look younger. It just looks like they're trying harder. But again, this is just the pressure once again, to maintain that youthfulness, to maintain that beauty or that handsomeness. We also have to, when we're talking about body image, you know, sometimes women will say, oh, people don't understand what we're going through, but a lot of women don't understand what men are going through as well. When men go bald, I mean, women act like it's the end of the world, and they don't want to, not all of you, because I know some women love a nice shaved bald head, but I'm just telling you, there are some women who are like, I would never date a bald guy. I don't want a bald guy. He needs to just shave all that hair off. And some men don't want to do that because they're just trying to hold on to their hair. It's very traumatizing. Think about ladies when, we lose our edges, or there's thinning in our hair, or there's a bald spot or something that forms in our head. How do we feel about that? How do we feel if a man rejected us because of that? So, men go through the same thing too. So I want to talk about also in this quest to remain youthful and perfect and beautiful, how we talk to our body, just our body image, how we see ourselves. Everyone changes. Everyone. Every single person who you admire on television, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, whatever, they have changed. And I don't have an issue with upkeep. I think upkeep is great. I'm not somebody who's like, just because you're getting older, you're supposed to just let yourself go. No, certainly make sure you're maintaining and trying to be healthy and working out and eating right and taking care of your skin. That's great. But obsessing over it is where it gets really dangerous. And we see this a lot, and it's sad. And I don't mean to pick on her, but I look at someone like Madonna, who is an icon and had her time, her youth in the 80s and 90s, and now she's an older woman, and rather than leaning into that stateswoman type vibe, I suppose, is desperately still trying to compete with 20-year-olds. If you don't have the healthiest self-esteem, or if you are constantly picked on by the media or social media, a lot of people aren't strong enough to say, I'm going to withstand this and I'm happy with the way I am. A lot of people are going to cave and say, okay, I need to put some filler in my lips. I need to put some filler in my cheeks. I need to put some, get a BBL, which is a Brazilian butt lift, for those of you who don't know what that is. But it's the pressure, again, to maintain this youthfulness. It's the pressure to maintain this beauty. It's almost as if people want some sort of, they want people to be locked in their youth. Like you're okay and you're fine in your 20s, but you can't evolve past that if you want to maintain a career in Hollywood. And like I said earlier, the reality is a 60-year-old will never look 20. I don't care how much Botox you get. I don't care how much facelifts you get. That neck is going to tell on you. Your hands are going to tell on you. Your legs are going to tell on you. Your teeth are going to tell on you. Teeth age too. Your hair is going to tell on you. You will not look the same. And I think we need to learn to embrace that. And I wish there wasn't so many ageists in the world who don't respect and revere older people, but rather scorn them and demean them. The other day, a young girl, she looked to be like maybe 19, 20. She came on my channel and she said something. She was critical of a video I did, and she's like, that's why you're old, or something like that. And I just burst out laughing. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm old. I have a healthy self-esteem and self-image, so I just could laugh at that. And she reminded me of like the characters on like Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, and what do you call the other thing? Housewives, where, you have people like Nene Leakes, those back in the day would say, oh, you're old. And then what happens? They then get older. Some new girl comes on the cast, and then they're the old hen. You know what I'm saying? They're now the older person, and they can't handle being called old, because that was something, that word old was used to, it was weaponized against somebody else. And so now they can't handle that. It's a privilege to get old. And as it relates to body image, the reality is too that a lot of us don't like what we see when we look in the mirror. We don't see anything that we appreciate. Even if someone were to compliment us, because in our minds we just don't like that thing, or we don't like our bodies, we can't see anything that we really truly love. Some people struggle. I've asked women before, tell me what you love about your body. Tell me 3 things. And they're like, 3 things? I'm like, yes, you have an entire body. You can't find 3 things that you love about your body? And they will struggle. Some of them really struggle. And let me tell you something. Some of the things that you don't like about your body are the very things that somebody else is coveting. I've seen girls who have complained about having a big butt. Oh, I don't like having a big butt. My butt's sticking out. And then you got gals out here paying thousands of dollars to go and get BBLs to get what you have naturally. Let me bring this home personally. For me, I have big boobs. Now I know y'all don't see it because how my camera is, I mean, I'm not hiding it, but I mean, it's just how I'm situated, right? I'm not gonna show you, but I got big boobs. I come from a long line of largest boobicus, okay? And many years ago, I used to want to be an A cup. And not because I thought they looked better, but because of this one silly reason. Well, for me, it was like everything. I wanted to be able to go outside in a t-shirt and not have to wear a bra. That's it. My breasts weren't hurting me. They weren't bothering me. They were healthy. I just wanted to be able to go outside in a regular t-shirt, just kind of slip it on like the A cups, and like I don't have to wear a bra. If I go outside and I don't wear a bra with these boobas largicus, I have a line of men following me home.
Lord have mercy. Miss Parker! Miss Parker!
And I'm very happy that I was surrounded by people who were like, girl, you tripping. You better keep your breasts. You got healthy breasts. You got good breasts. Just keep your breasts, you know? But a lot of people don't have that. So when they have these negative self-images, they have other people who are feeding into that or, you know, encouraging them like, oh yeah, you should just go and change yourself rather than changing your mindset. But back to the pressure to stay young and beautiful, it comes from a lot of comparisons. And let me be frank with you, it doesn't come from men and women comparing themselves to celebrities. That happens, it does. But a lot of times it comes from like us comparing ourselves to people we see on social media, or someone who works with us, or someone in our family, or someone in our friend circle. How many times have you been on a job and you've been there for many, many years? And if you're a woman, a new girl comes on the job and she looks great. And then now all of a sudden, like, you know, guys on the job might be eyeing her or interested in her or talking about her, or other women are saying, oh, she looks fly. And then all of a sudden the wheels start turning in your head and you start comparing yourself with this woman, not knowing her insecurities, not knowing what she's going through. You're just looking at her and you start comparing yourself. And I think those ones are kind of worse than the celebrities even, because if you work with somebody or they're in your friend circle or in your family, it's hard to turn them off. It's easy to just be like, I'm not going to go on Instagram and see these Instagram models. I'm not going to turn on the TV and watch these celebrities. But when someone is in your face constantly, you know, and especially if you're older or you're a bigger size than them, it can really start to play with your head. Sometimes employers even play into this. Right? So you've been on the job for a number of years, and then a new person comes on. This can be a woman or a man. And now they start showing, you know, a little favoritism towards this new person. When you go into meetings, the boss might say, oh, this young girl has fresh, bright ideas. And he's talking about the ideas. But what you hear is, she's young, she's bright, she's fresh. I'm not. I'm old. I'm stale. I don't have good ideas. That's what you hear. In that moment, it's not even what the boss said, it's about what you heard. I think as long as not only Hollywood, but society maintains these unrealistic goals for women and men, I think it's going to be a problem. It's sad to see people trying so desperately to hold on to youth, because you cannot hold on to it. You won't be 22 twice. You won't be 30 twice. You know, it's one and done. And I think, again, you do a disservice to the decade that you're in, whether you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, your 80s, by just either pretending that you're younger than you are, or just not enjoying the decade that you're in. This is why, for me, like, one of the things that I absolutely hate, and my friends laugh all the time, right? Because I can be a stinker when I'm ready. So I'm going to tell you something that I do. I don't like, and I shouldn't even be telling you all this, but I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you anyway. I don't like when people ask, like, me to guess their age. Like, you know, like a woman who will look really nice, and it happens mostly for me with women. They'll look nice, you might compliment them, and you're like, okay, see you later. But they're like, guess how old I am. What? And they're like, guess how old I am. And I'm like, I don't want to guess. Can you, if you want to tell me, just tell me. Like, you don't have to tell me your age. I'm not asking, but you know, they're like, no, just guess. Now, most people will guess under their age. So let's just say it's a woman who's 60. They'll be like, 42? And then it flatters the woman like, oh, no, I'm not 42. Guess again. I don't like these games. Rogan does not like these games. Like, just tell me your damn age. And so then the person will be like, you could tell the person is clearly in their 60s, but they're just playing this stupid game. Like, oh, you're not 42, 43? Or sometimes they'll even go lower, 39. And then the person will finally cave and say, I'm actually 64. How you confuse 39 with 64? Because I ain't confusing them. But when they do it to me and I say, look, I don't want to play the game, just tell me your age. And they don't want to say. Then if they're like 64, if I look at them, and I'm pretty good at guessing people's ages, if I see they're 64, I'll say 76. And you could just see their faces drop. Don't come for me in the comment section. I told you I don't like playing these games. If you want to tell me your age, tell me your age, but don't play this game with me, because I feel like you want me to like boost your ego in that moment. And I'm not interested in that. If I tell you look good, and I don't tell people they look good if they don't look good. If I tell you look good, just run with that. I don't now have to play the guessing age game, because I'm always going to guess up. So if you know better, if you ever see me, don't ask me, guess my age. Because if you're in your 40s, I can tell you 73. So don't play that with me. But I feel like that too, and let me just say this, when you actually guess the right age, because sometimes I'm just like, I don't feel like playing the game, so I'll just guess the age, and they'll be like, yeah, that's my age. I'm like, okay. And then the women will be like, but do I look that age? Yes, you look that age. What's wrong with looking your age? Because they want to look way younger. You should look nice. You should look your age. If you look younger, cool. But so I think that plays into it as well. I think women, if they're going to be playing this game, you know, should be proud of whatever age they are. And I think that comes from us not making people feel as if they're washed up, should be put out to pasture, are useless, aren't beautiful. I saw a lady many years ago in Virginia. This was a white older lady. She had a silver bob. She was very petite. She was like maybe 5'2", but she was very slender. And she had on the highest heels you could find and an all black outfit. And she was walking through, oh, by the way, she looked like she was in her 70s. But she walked in and I was just like, this woman is fire. Like, I could not stop staring at her. And I knew I wasn't the only one, because when I turned around, like, all the men were like looking at her, like, and women were like, man, I want to age like that. She looked so, she had on her red lipstick. Her makeup was like softly, nicely done. She looked so bomb. I was like, that's me at that age. I mean, I'm not white, right? But I'm like, that's me at that age. That's freaking me at that age. But people don't want that. Like, you could look so sexy and so fly at every age, but people just always want to be in this young category. And again, it's not entirely their fault. It's society's fault, because we make women and men feel like once they hit a certain number, it's a wrap for them, and it's not. So before I end, I want to ask you this, you know, for all the guys and dolls in the comment section, like, tell me your favorite body part. Keep it clean. If you like those body parts, just drop an emoji. Don't say the word. Don't say the word. But, you know, it doesn't have to be a body part that everybody compliments you on. Because, you know, I get complimented on certain things, but those aren't like my favorite body parts, right? Like, I know this is going to sound weird. My hands are like some of my favorite body parts, because my hands are how I earn. My hands, let me be very clear about that. I mean, like, you know, the work I do, my work, not that other stuff. And then also, when's the last time you guys showed your body some love? And I know that sounds like such a weird question, but I just feel like a lot of people aren't grateful for what they have. That movie, The Substance, really got me thinking. It's like we're always so quick to change things. I look at Vivica Fox has been trending because they allege that she had a BBL. It certainly looks like she did. I can't say for sure. Again, I feel the pressure to compete with other women in Hollywood is leading her down a path I wish she, wouldn't go. I have no issue with people wanting to be the best version of themselves, but I worry that sometimes people, in seeking to be the best version of themselves, they start to seek perfection, and there's no such thing, and they go to extremes to get that. And sometimes it just takes working on what's up here and what's in here versus all this other stuff. Because even when you go and have the surgeries and you do all that stuff, people will have something to say. You have to be happy with yourself, because trying to please people, you go mad and broke. Thanks for listening to the This Bahamian Gal podcast. Don't forget to rate the show and leave us a review. And be sure to follow me on YouTube and Instagram at This Bahamian Gal. Also, we want to hear what you have to say, so weigh in on the conversation by emailing us at beourguest@thisbahamiangal.com. That's beourguest@thisbahamiangal.com. Or by going to our blog, thisbahamiangal.com, and leaving us a voice message. Yes, if you're on desktop, you'll see the leave a voicemail button on the right of the screen. If you're on your smartphone, which I'm sure a lot of you are, you'll see it at the bottom of the screen. We cannot wait to hear what you have to say. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.